All right. Good afternoon, everyone. We are so glad to have each one of you here today. And so for our monthly AmeriCorps meeting, I know for those that are serving and joining us online, we do have an activity, and it'll be great if you can join in on us, join in with us in this opening activity. For those that are online, we are keeping track of your attendance to see if you're here. And for those in person in this room, there is a sign-in sheet. We need you to sign in. And for those who might have joined us a bit late, please grab a post-it pad for our activity and a pen. So our opening activity, for those that are online, you need post-it notes or pieces of paper or a piece of paper that you can write down the activity, write down what we're going to ask. So Anna's going to actually open up today for the activity.
Hello, everyone. So this is a trauma-informed activity that we're going to practice here together, but also you can practice it with your caseload as well. So something that we have been just brainstorming, thinking about different topics that you guys might be facing is, as you guys are going into break, Gabby, can you do me just a quick favor? Can you close the door? As you guys are going into break, there may be things that you guys have seen thus far that have been traumatic, if we're being honest. You guys have been working with kids that may be in the foster system, or you guys may have already had to dealt with a 51A or domestic violence, sexual exploitation. So there's a lot of things that have been coming up as we've just been observing, and as you guys have been serving in the school systems, or maybe there are things that you guys are dealing with in your personal life. So what this activity is you're gonna take a Post-it note, and there are different things that you may be going through, whether it's stress of finals, stress of financial reasons, stress of your cohort, your caseload, or there's probably, or maybe a student in your caseload that has been dealing with stuff at home. And so what this activity is learning how to each day physically take off that burden off of you, understanding that what you're encountering, what you're doing doesn't define who you are, but also as counselors, as social workers, it's something that you guys are going to experience as you guys are learning how to and gaining knowledge on how to work in this field. So understanding that the things that you are dealing with, that you don't have to leave it or bring it into you in your personal lives, in your homes. So for example, you can write a student's name on a Post-it note, or if you want to keep it confidential, just a thought of them. And so what we're going to do is write different things on a Post-it note and then stick it onto you. But you can cover the name, scratch it out, everything like that. So go ahead.
And some other examples: stress, homework, maybe it's a specific professor that just weighs on you. Anything you can think of that's in front of your mind that keeps hovering, or if you can't even get out of your car without thinking about it. Use all the Post-it pads. If you want different colors, grab as many as you like. Enjoy.
And if you don't feel comfortable physically putting it on yourself, make like a line on your table and just put it there.
You can use the walls as well. If you want to get up, use the walls, stick it on the walls. If you want to do it in a certain shape.
And it could be as simple as you're hungry right now and you can't get that through your head. So whatever it's on your mind, whatever you're feeling weighing on you, just write it out. Yes.
If we have multiple, do we write them all in the same one or multiple?
Multiple.
Got it. Each Post-it note is a different item. And for those that are at home or over Zoom, please do this either on scrap paper, Post-it notes, on a notebook. Put all those thoughts down, and we'll share them.
This is just an activity that you guys can bring to your case. So, and you can change it up. You can make them write a list, or they could do, instead of Post-it notes, just a piece of paper, anything that you can think of. So this is just an activity that you guys can bring with you into the schools as well.
Do you want to do the activity as well? Let's do it.
Yeah. Baby Ollie. Yeah, same one. I think, yeah. Okay. So as you guys, some of you guys have finished up or are finishing up. So one thing that you can do with the sticky notes, for example, I have decisions that I have to make. So as you look at each one, you can decide whether you can throw this thought away, as in not let it affect you, or you can decide, hey, this thought that I have right here tangibly, I can put it aside so I can focus on what's in front of me. And teaching your cohort or yourself to learn how to compartmentalize, which is learning to take everything that you're dealing with, all the thoughts, all the day-to-day tasks and struggles that we all may face, and learning to put them aside. So as you're looking at each of the sticky notes, each of the things that you guys are all facing, understanding that it is a lot, that you guys are students, but also are mentors and influencing your cohort and all the different things and leadership opportunities that you guys have outside of AmeriCorps as well. Just learning to what can you put to the side, or what do you want to deal with right now, and what do you think that is just not important. For example, I also have being tired. I can decide, hey, I'm just gonna push through the day knowing that I can get sleep tonight and get my 8 hours today. So that's something that I'll throw away. But decisions, I can decide that I can do this after work and process that. So as you guys see this, you can bring it to your cohort, understanding that when you see them as this month ends, they're gonna come back from holidays. You guys are coming back from the holidays, going to, whether it's your family staying here, encountering different situations as well as them. So how do you help them process maybe the things that they're encountering, the things that they see to day, and also the people you interact with, whether it's the school counselor, your site supervisors, understanding that they're human too, and the different people you encounter every day. So yeah, so you guys can do that now. Just take another 2 minutes and put aside what you want to, throw away the thoughts that you want to throw away, and what are some things you want to learn how to address now or after the meeting.
So there are recycling cans, things that you know you should not be holding on to. Take that Post-it note and throw it away. Okay, this is a challenge. Take it, look at it, say, I held on to this fear in me, that needs to be thrown away. For instance, the audit that we're going to have in the spring, it's in the spring, I have to throw that away. I can't hold on to it here for our program. Wrinkle, nothing I can do about that one. Stress, you know what? I can deal with stress tomorrow. Today, I have to enjoy it. Each one of you are here, and I'm really glad I can see each one of you. Cooking, maybe later, but not right now. I can't do nothing about it now. This one I don't need to say out loud. Budgeting, I'll budget my household when I see my husband together. We'll budget when we get there. Vacation, I'm so excited. I'll hold on to this one. I'm so excited. Being an aunt, my sister's going into delivery tonight. She's scheduled. So I'm like super anxious for her. I'm like, what's gonna happen? And I realized I can't hold on to the anxiety. She wants someone that's supporting. So the anxiety part, I'm not gonna hold on to. I don't need to share anxiety with her. She's already worried. I should just be excited for just the new baby. And noise, I don't know, a lot of noise of late. I'm just gonna throw it away. Anyone else? Go right ahead. Let's take off what we don't need to add on. Let's take it all off. Yeah. That's good.
I have Yasin on mine.
That's good.
I'll leave Yasin.
Nope. Yeah. Throw them away. Let's take some of this out. It's okay. Let's throw some of this away. There's something powerful when we take something that we've held on to and put it where it belongs.
In the trash.
And everyone at home, you too can do this and also do this activity with your students during this time of year. I didn't need that one. You're doing good. You're gonna remind me when. Oh, the part. You're gonna remind me which ones they are. Okay, we're gonna continue today's training. We would like to welcome one of our new members. Her name is Jada Dove. She is online with us. You might actually have her in class. She's a social work student. So if you see her, say hi. Jada is at Karina. So if you see her, say hi. We are so glad to have her on board with us. All right. Now, next one. We did our icebreaker. Now save the date. So every year, AmeriCorps nationally recognizes MLK Day. And on that day, they challenge each site to dedicate our time with serving the community in some way. Last year, some of the members went to Mass Mutual Center, supported their MLK Day. It was dealing with a lot of music, cultural awareness with a community music school. We're doing that again, but in collaboration with the MLK Center that's located in downtown Springfield. So it's more of a community focus along with students engaging in the arts. So this is an optional participation. It will count for your direct service. What we simply ask is, are you able, it could be a yes, no, or maybe, and it's in a survey in this QR code. We'll also email you the link. Just let us know if it's a yes, no, or maybe, so we can let you know more information. Even if it's a maybe, we'll let you know more information.
Yes, so the QR code has the link. This form is required and we'll go into another part that's on the form that's also required as well that me and Alicia need to know.
Yep, so the QR code isn't just about this event. We're asking for other information and we'll go over that. Now, in terms of our mid-year training, just like it's listed in our handbook, it will still be January 16th. This is a full day. We will be having coffee. We will be having lunch provided, but the training will be located at the Brennan Center. That's the building for social work here on campus. And that training is all day. We are still working out the exact guest speaker, but we are focusing on establishing small groups. That will be one of our sessions, establishing small groups and timelines for small groups. We know you have some small groups. We know you engage one-on-one. So establishing an outline for the rest of the year. So this guest speaker is going to come in and help you break down what your school is, your student needs, and seeing what would be your skill sets to best address an active, engaged group or support. So save the date. We'll follow up with more information and updates. Yep, updates. Please be aware we are doing site visits. What is a site visit? It's pretty much between us, Anna and I, and your site supervisor, where we go in, just make sure that they're aware of any updates that are going to happen throughout the year. For instance, when our mid-year evaluations are going to happen, any questions that they've had that we can address. So if you happen to see us, say hi. And it's really just checking in just to make sure your site supervisor is supported along the way before our mid-year evals. Yep. Yes. You will need a week blacked out because they won't be in the schools. It's okay. You can do that, or if you're deciding to take an extra break, but we'll also get into that. Yeah, we have a slide that's gonna go over timesheets. Yeah, but don't worry, that was a great question. And if your site supervisor does want you in with the site visits, they'll let you know, but our majority, it's a Zoom call just to check in with your site supervisors. This is happening to all the sites. We just want to make sure your site supervisors, if they have any questions, they can reach out to us. And this is us making ourselves available to them. Now, mid-year evaluations, that's going to be conducted January through mid-February. We're trying to do this before the next set of exams or state tests happen at your schools. So what this is, it will be done through Google Forms, and it's to assess where you feel you're at currently, what supports needs to be done by staff, by your site, and your site supervisor will also complete a similar form. And so it's a sit-down conversation. It's just a sit-down conversation to say, hey, you excel in this, aspect of the role. Let's focus on the second half of the year on this aspect, or let's expand, let's give you more opportunities to serve. And that can be the dialogue, the conversation starter that will get you to where maybe you originally wanted to serve more students, or maybe you have a goal of serving students in a specific way. This is a mid-year point where you've learned who the staff are at your schools, you've learned your site supervisor, you've learned who your cohort of students are. Somewhat, I understand, we're still in the process with that. And now we kind of set up what are your plans for the rest of the year. So that is happening next month. But we would like to let you know now. So that way it's not a surprise when you come back, you feel like we're overwhelming you with a form to evaluate yourself on. It's mid-year. We want to know how you're doing. Service opportunities. So service opportunities. We want to clarify this because it comes up, and that's okay if it comes up. For volunteering at a nonprofit organization, as long as it's not a fundraiser. So no 5Ks, no golf tournaments, no raffle events that a nonprofit is hosting. If it's solely focusing on programs at that nonprofit, like for instance, a Valentine's Day party, you're helping out with face painting, something like that. That's just an example. Maybe you're helping out Girls on the Run. That organization, those hours can count as long as that organization and a rep can send us the day and the amount of time, how long you served on that day. So there was questions on that, like in terms of, for instance, does Girls on the Run count? Someone from that organization needs to email us saying that Raquel served on Monday, the 11th for 2 hours. That's what I need as an email. And that's all you have to do to add that time on your timesheet. Now training opportunities, what counts? It needs to be approved by staff because it needs to correlate with your role and responsibilities at roles and responsibilities. So there's some trainings, while we do think it's awesome, it's great, we have to make sure it focuses on like youth development, maybe possibly mental health. A lot of the trainings offered by the School of Social Work that you have to attend. Some of the students here have to attend certain School of Social Work trainings. Those do count. They already sent us what those trainings are. And we've already talked to the School of Social Work for them to give us the attendance of members who attend that. Things like that makes it easier for us because the trainer needs to send us the attendance list. It can't be members sending it in. It has to be the trainer, or for instance, if it's the School of Social Work hosting it, it would be like Lily or Laura who sends it from that department to us because we've already talked to them. If we have something we can set up, great, with that department who's hosting a training, but the department needs to send us the roster, not members. Okay, just to clarify that. All right. Now we're going to do a quick timesheet review. And what we've realized in this whole entire day, we have handouts for holiday blues, what to be aware of. I know that was supposed to be the focus, but we've seen too many questions pop up that we are going to address that all in this monthly training. And it's probably going to take up the whole entire training time. So we have handouts for being aware of youth who are dealing with the holiday blues, maybe depression, maybe sadness. Those handouts are at the back window, back of the room. But we're going to go over timesheets now and a few other items. Yeah.
So again, as I said, the last meeting, I'm the point person with Alicia that goes over timesheets. So I have seen a couple of issues. So one thing we want to mention is referencing the handbook. If I send it back lately, I've just been referencing the handbook. A lot of questions that you may see or you see come up are in the handbook discussed. So when it comes to attendance, the handbook says members are required to notify site supervisors and AmeriCorps program staff when they have planned time off or expect to be absent. As a professional courtesy, notify site supervisors and program staff via email prior to absence or tardiness to ensure that the notification is documented. The email should include the following, and then it explains it. All no calls, no shows are taken very seriously, and this can come as warnings as well along the way. So for example, some of you have emailed me based off of the Thanksgiving break that you wanted to block out that whole week. That was perfectly fine because I received the email and you let your site supervisors know. When you don't do that and just write in the reflection log that you won't be there, one, that doesn't count as a notification because you're submitting it as the reflection log. Therefore, when I pull the data, it's going to say that a response was submitted for a reflection log, even though it wasn't a reflection on the response. Also, we just need to know it for your documenting purposes for when we do hours. Like when you block out a certain time, it helps when I can cancel out all the different things without submitting it. Because if not, the system will keep reminding you to submit a reflection log and a timesheet. And it'll also do that to your site supervisor, which is frustrating when they email us that they're tired of receiving an email to approve a time that was never submitted in the first place. So that's the biggest thing. It's okay if you guys want to go on a vacation earlier than Thanksgiving, or even when it comes to now, when it comes to breaks that you want to take certain days here and there, you just have to let us know, because we can't take our reflection logs if that time isn't blocked out completely for that week. Even when it comes to you guys being sick, I know it's this time of season where people have allergies, get sick. Also let us know that, hey, I didn't come into my site that last week. Can you please block it out? Because it's easier for you, for us, and for the site supervisors as well.
And I just want to let everyone know, so part of the pulling of reports that Anna does, there's polling report for attendance, polling report for site supervisors, then there's a polling report for, polling report and downloading a report for, reflection logs. That's all time Anna dedicates. So when we see a member's outstanding, we sit down, we go over every single name on all three reports. And if it's blocked off, your name's not on it, it saves us time, it saves us an email. And we're trying to avoid this upcoming winter break, that instead of us receiving it the Friday before the break starts or whatever, if we know now, we can put it in now. It saves us a lot of time, and it saves us time when we're pulling reports, especially for Anna. Anna's the one that's pulling the report. Let's just save her time. I really would appreciate that. And if you get sick, we understand that. Let us know. As soon as you're feeling well enough to let us know you're out that week, we appreciate that as well.
Yeah, also it can affect your monthly stipend. If you, for example, took off a certain amount of weeks that obviously you will serve in that month, but if you're outstanding, it can affect you getting your monthly stipend because that week is saying, oh, they haven't submitted time, therefore they may not receive their monthly check. Also, in a result, you could receive a warning, like a verbal warning, but you're going to be like, I didn't even serve. That's why it's better to just let us know to block it out so you won't just see any problems like that. Also, we're just going to implement, because we are seeing a lot of people have outstanding timesheets. To just remind you, timesheets are due on Sunday, last day of each week. Timesheets outstanding over 7 days will receive a verbal warning from this week on. So we are, I know people are catching up. They have finals, they have different things, different situations come up, but we are expecting that from now on, timesheets are outstanding over 7 days will receive a verbal warning.
And so why are we being so hard? Has nothing to do with the hard work you're all providing, the service you provide. Remember that post-it note that I said audit? I'm not gonna think about it till spring. Part of the audit that they've established, clear cut, especially this year, is that no one is to receive a stipend if there's a timesheet outstanding. And that means site supervisors must approve that timesheet before you receive a stipend. So our dates, our month runs from the 14th through the 15th of a month. So the December stipend goes from November 14th through December 15th. So we need everyone to have their timesheets approved before you receive your stipend the last Friday of December. That gives us maybe 2 weeks, but we have a holiday in that week. Your site supervisors, we don't know if they'll be sick. We don't know if you have a blackout week. We have to account for things to happen. And one of the things that MSA, our partner organization, they audit all timesheets. They audit, there's a time stamp on your timesheet. When you hit submit, what it's called an audit trail, that date stamp goes then to your site supervisors, then there's a date stamp for them, and then it comes to us. If you wait till weeks of timesheets get piled up, which it has happened, that's why we're having this conversation. It piles up for your site supervisor. We're the bad guys to call. There was an issue with the app, the AmeriCorps Learns app. Effective immediately, you can't delete the app. They're gonna open up a new app because there was an issue with
Timesheet stamps.
timestamps. Yeah, they ended up having an issue. And that actually affected one of the site supervisors in this room. So that's one of the things, again, wasn't your fault, but we never know, we can account for those little hiccups. So everyone's received their stipends. I've made a complaint with my boss about the delay of your stipends as well, that's unprofessional and uncalled for. So we just want to make sure that the school abides by their, agreement that you receive your stipends timely, and then also that we receive your timesheet timely. Are we all on the same page? Okay, thank you.
And then, as we mentioned earlier, on the form is our winter break update. So just a reminder, you can't take off more than 3 weeks between December 15th through the 14th. And also as a reminder, since our mid-year training is the 16th, that's why we just recommend that you let us know what blackout dates are. So again, as Tori mentioned, it was a great question. You guys should all be marking off the week from the Christmas, which is the 25th, all the way until New Year's, because there's not school. But if you decide, hey, I'm going a week earlier to go home, black out that day. If you want to do the week after, that's perfectly fine. Just let us know so we can black it out now. So one, you won't receive a request to do reflection logs, as well as just making time management just a little bit faster. Does anyone have questions on that right now? And again, we understand that you may not have your plans right away, but we just want that before you guys leave on break or you guys are finished with finals. Sounds great. And then for the syllabus, like you guys did in the beginning, you guys sent your syllabus for the spring semester. Please just remember to do the same when you receive it. I know that some of you just may receive it the day of when you guys start classes in the spring. Just do it timely so that when you guys start submitting coursework time, that we can approve it. But please stop claiming coursework time once classes end for this semester. So if you're going to serve at your sites over break, don't submit coursework time because I'll send it back.
Questions?
Yes. Any questions, concerns? Yes.
So for the week of, when we're off in the first semester, would we not have to submit a policy for that week?
So yeah, you wouldn't submit a timesheet for the week of Christmas until New Year's because that's a whole week and you wouldn't be serving at your site. So I'll black out reflection logs for that week as well. But if you are serving for the week before that or the week after, you would submit a timesheet. And there's a question, I think it was Aaliyah, she asked a great question before, which is, can you guys go outside of your usual schedule? And this is the perfect time to serve more, to receive more hours so you guys don't fall back, which we'll talk about later. So during these 2 weeks in between Christmas break, I'm suspecting that you guys don't have to do classes. So this is a perfect time to serve more on your own time that works with the school and your site supervisor, and let them know and ask them like what hours are better for you that I can come a little bit longer to get my hours.
Wonderful.
Is there any questions? Yes.
So for the MO, maybe I'm not, was that for mandatory?
Mm-mm.
That is not mandatory. We had about six last year. We would love to see more. If you're in town, the schools are closed that day. A lot of your students might be there because some of them are part of a school that they were invited or part of a community organization. We have our members support in what they call the green room. We are currently in the talks because we received your feedback for those that attended about the highs and lows and how you were utilized as volunteers. We're trying to provide more structure so that when you go, you have a greater impact for those that you're serving and supporting for that event. So love to see more people attend. Sounds good? That is
Yes.
mandatory. That's mandatory, yeah. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. Oh, you have class on that day? Yeah. We will record and post for you. And we understand undergrads, your calendar is different than Springfield College calendar. Because I think Springfield College, we don't start classes till the Wednesday. Am I correct? The Wednesday. So we will double check that next year. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, also if the blackout dates don't work for you guys, like if your break actually starts earlier and you want to serve, just let us know, like how you want to work it out. Okay.
So data collection, we are clarifying data collection one more time. So data collection is focused on why we are grant funded. Like we are grant funded because we are able to collect, how do I say this? The attendance. Attendance is number one for us. But what we allow you to do is you can utilize their grades, their behavior, and assess that data and determine what's the best choice of intervention that you could provide that student in the form of mentoring, whether it's having conversations, having debriefs on staying organized, or de-escalating emotions, depending on the student and their needs. You are able to collect data at your sites. Some of this can be done not directly in front of your students as one-on-ones, but in front of your site supervisors or independently. But that is what student data collection is in that category. We've seen it mixed in with direct service, with service project, but student data collection is the time that you spend pulling information of students and then or putting in student information in America Learns and or updating your check and connect sheets. So some of you have an actual form that you check in with a student or with your small group, updating that, updating goals that you have with those students with that group, that time that you're providing to do that. That's all coincide with student data collection. We just want to clarify that because we've questioned, some members have put all of their time under student data collection. You shouldn't have a day that you served 6 hours doing solely data collection. It's a bit questionable. And then we end up reaching out to your site supervisor and clarifying. So just clarifying that here. And clarifying service, just so that way we understand all three categories. Direct service usually means that you're in front of a student or you're in front of a group of students or helping out with a site supervisor serving students. Maybe they're not your cohort, your caseload of students, but you're supporting your supervisors in some sort of form. Maybe it's in the attendance aspect, maybe it's calling parents. That's still direct service. Maybe it's college prep if you're in high school. Service project is any time you spend, which we ended up clarifying with one site because they ended up doing their service project in November, with it being approved. Time spent planning, and planning can be planning with your discussion with your supervisor. Planning can be planning with your cohort of students, determining what would be a best project to support the schools. It could be part of preparing, running, or evaluating your service project. That's the only time you actually use service project, that middle category. And then student data collecting, time spent gathering, entering student data, and tracking goals. Mhm.
The service project. Can we put in the time if we're working on that service project at home and not at time? Need to be
I have a slide focusing on at home hours. So this is clarification for your site supervisors and you, all members will receive. Let me get to that slide about
that's fine.
anything that you do at home has to be approved by your site supervisor. And we'll clarify that it could be service project, it could be direct service, or no, actually, sorry, direct service should never be at home. We're going to clarify that part. Direct service should never be at home. How are you doing one-on-ones at home? How are you doing small groups at home? How are you doing supporting your supervisor at home? So we shouldn't ever see direct service on a Saturday. Student data collection. We can see you pull, if you have access, I know it's different in different cities. In Springfield, we know you can have access to grades, attendance, behavior. We understand that. So you could pull information at home. We know you could put in that information in tracking goals at home. And service projects, we know there are some of the planning aspects that could be done at home. We understand that. Who approves it first, we'll go over that next. And then training, as we went over, we need the facilitator of that training to send us your proof of attendance. And then individual training coursework. This is interesting. So for those that missed today's training, we post a recording and a question on Brightspace. You watch the recording, that's one, but you don't get the full, what's this, hour and a half until you answer the question. You need to watch the video and answer the question to get the full credit.
Also, just to reference, when it comes to Brightspace and us posting any videos or anything like that, just so you guys know, we can see how long you guys have watched it, what like the actual part, that part. So if you're submitting time, let's just be honest, like if you're watching the full hour, please watch the full hour and a half, different things like that. And that same thing goes with reflection logs. If you submit a sentence and you submit an hour, please don't do that because I'll send it back as well. So just to clarify, anything like that.
Yep, and that goes into reflection logs. So we do have a word counter when we download the report, and it tells us immediately, are you at the 250 hour mark or the 500 word mark, depending on what your contract category is. So please, these should be things that when you upload, we shouldn't be off by hundreds of words. Now, remote hours policy, like what was just said for a question, whether it's service project or data collection, we do not approve you serving at your home. The person that first has to approve is your site supervisor. It's between you and your site supervisor. So every site, every supervisor has a different response. If your supervisor tells you no, do not come to us. Please don't come to us. No means no. So your site supervisor approves you doing service at home. Let's say it is the data collection piece. We understand your schools can be crazy sometimes. The issue we have is that the clarification that we're having, especially with site visits, is has your site supervisor and yourself sat down to go over exactly what your role will be and how much time you can commit to at home. That's a clarification, because that's determined between you and your site supervisor, exactly what you're doing at home. Okay, whether if it's data collection, what type of data collection. There might be forms that they might need you to fill out to put in a student's file. Whatever that might be, part of that student collection piece has to be approved and decided by your site supervisor. So if you've been putting time on the weekend, we're clarifying that with your site supervisor. Make sure that was approved by your supervisor, because anything under service, that's supervisor. Anything under training, that's our approval. That's why there's two people that approve, supervisors and then us. Questions? Seems pretty straightforward. If any of you would like to serve at home, please do not go to your supervisor and say, the AmeriCorps staff said we can serve at home. No, we said if you and your site supervisor have an agreement that certain aspects of your role can be done at home, that's between you and your site supervisor, but it shouldn't be the bulk of your time. And just to clarify, data collection, this was brought up in the last training. I went over all of this, so I'm just briefing you on what data collection and management is. So data collection, what we need was 15 to 20 students served. And what we received as feedback, we've heard your feedback. We can have a discussion. And Anna's keeping track of the chat as well online. Is maybe 15, 20 is a lot as of right now. We heard what you have, as long as you have some students documented. We've seen on average is about 10 to 15. We hear you. We understand that it could grow because some of your students, you might have a change of schedule. So you might be able to serve different types of students in the spring. That's okay too. We recommend 30 minutes. Why do we recommend 30 minutes? Because of the program, the grant that we're funded under, we verified, we used a empirical, evidence-based, researched, how do I say this? method or theory of support that has proven if you dedicate on a consistent basis 30 minutes is to change the students' attendance and grades, but we just focus on attendance. So we recommend 30 minutes. We've heard your feedback. We understand for some of your programs, you can't do 30 minutes. So we are compromising, and at least you document the amount of minutes, whether it's 15, 20, document that time. And ensure that it's consistent documentation. We understand that a lot of you are serving the high needs community. That means they don't attend school very often. But it doesn't mean that all of your students that you serve, you see them 0 in a week, but you've served 22 hours, or you might have served 15 or 10 hours. You've seen your 10 students 0. You haven't seen any of your students for that whole week. That's the questions we start having. If you have 10 students, wonderful. You see none of them in that whole week, we will ask you about that. And how do we know if you've seen your students? How do you know that we know that you've seen your students? What aspect, what metric do we use? Where do you put in your minutes when you support a student? The reflection log in AmeriCorps Learns. If you haven't been doing that, we will have a meeting, but we'll go over that aspect in a second. So we need to see your cohort of students in AmeriCorps Learns. You see them as a student group. We need your student ID numbers, especially if you're in Springfield. If you're in Springfield, we need those student ID numbers. And we will be verifying, by the way, those student ID numbers with Springfield Public Schools during winter break to make sure they're all valid ID numbers. And if they're not, we're gonna kick that back to you to say, can you get that student ID number? That's correct. Because we pull a report at the end of the year of all your students in Springfield, not in other sites.
If we have, I have students on my caseload who move and so they're no longer at school, how would I remove?
You can email me directly and I can remove them for you.
Anna is a point person for disconnecting any students that you no longer serve. And you'll see that in January, some students transfer schools. You'll see that. So that's okay. That's okay. Students that have to be removed, it's okay. But we ask that you at least dedicate some time every week. If the student's not there that week, you mark as 0 minutes. But if they are, we want to see how much time you committed to them. And if you are given entire caseload of all high risk, all really transient students in terms of them never coming to school, that might be the conversation during mid-year to say, can I have a more diverse group of students? It's too many of them aren't showing up. Can I at least add 5 students that are consistent? Maybe we can focus on career readiness, going to college, something different. Those are the conversations we can have. And check-ins look all different in every school. I know some schools are just using check-ins as IEP check-ins, and IEP times are all different per student. We understand, but if you're doing a group, utilize that group. If you're staying after school to support a club and some of your students are in that club, if you're doing check-ins in that club, utilize that time. Count. You're doing so much. We would like to have that reflected on the AmeriCorps Learns reflection log piece. So again, you shouldn't be there's a lot of words. You shouldn't only be serving high needs students. There should be some sort of mix. And for instance, this is the time that you start reflecting. If you're having a hard time to pull students out of certain classes because you only come in during, let's say, Monday, Wednesday, and that's their core classes, maybe it's looking at a different form of intervening and providing mentoring support to those students. Every school is very different. One aspect is also every student on your caseload needs to do a survey. It's the same survey they're going to take at the end of the year, called the post survey. So if you add students halfway through the year, all of them need the survey. And if you take out students, it's okay if they don't do the post survey, we remove them. but every student that's on your caseload needs a survey done. And why do we have this? This data that we're asking the students to do is to measure the qualitative aspect of the program. So, and we use the qualitative response. Ideally, the students might not be feeling supported in the beginning of the year and their responses are negative. That's okay. We would love to see by the end of the year if their responses change, their outlook. This is all about their outlook onto the school, like what they see themselves as academically, attendance-wise, emotionally. That's why we're asking this. We would love to see if there's a qualitative change in your students that you're serving. Because last year's data, based off the minutes supported on the students and their attendance, there wasn't a big change on attendance improving. However, this survey should also measure, are the students feeling better once they're there? So it's so important for us to defend that this program works is by doing that survey. Because next fall, we are reapplying and we're taking this year's data and last year's data to say, our program works. Our program does provide an impact. Please fund us so that way AmeriCorps members, whether you're in Springfield College or Westfield State, you can be paid while you serve at these schools. You are providing an impact. So we're trying to find qualitative and quantitative proof of support. Questions? I gave you more information than what you need, but it's so that way you understand that we're not trying to make this give you a headache, but it does explain why we're funded. So we have resources on how to get started with your student cohort. We are focusing on establishing a student cohort lesson plans in our mid-year training as well, because we're seeing that this is a bit of a struggle for some of you. So we're going to do a refresher for everyone. And pre-engagement surveys, I think I explained it enough. This is part of our grant to explain the qualitative impact you're providing. And then there are question and answers about this survey. We've emailed it. It's on Brightspace, but we can answer any questions. Did anyone have a question? Okay. We'll move on. Now, this is just so that way we're just re-emphasizing. We have 30 minutes. We're just re-emphasizing that we would like to know what days and how many minutes you supported your students. This has to be done consistently. We understand that you could submit your timesheets timely. On the most part, majority have submitted timesheets very timely. That's great. We need the student data collection piece to be just as timely, because when we pull a report, every time we pull a report, we had to completely start from scratch if we have outstanding reflection log pieces missing. If it's missing, Anna has to rerun it. It's a lot of time. So please provide it timely. And this just explains the different types of categories and details to it. And we also have instructions. It's on Brightspace on how to add a student. So these are all instructions. So let's go into, did anyone, now we're gonna take a quick, not a siesta, but we want to do another activity. In the email, we said, bring a gift. Maybe it's a note, an inspirational item.